Hitting the screen. ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Swami, we are continuing Vidya Vahini. Today we are going to discuss session 8. In this session, we are going to discuss on 3 chapters: egoless service, compassion and cleanliness, shun jealousy and hatred. Swami, please be with us. Please speak through us. Please listen through us. Our humble salutations at your lotus feet, Swami. Sai Ram. Sai Ram, brothers and sisters. Thank you very much for joining Vahini Swadhyaya. Such a beautiful chapters. How a student supposed to be. How a sadhaka is supposed to be. Here the student in the Vidya Vahini, we have to treat this as a kind of a sadhaka, whoever is doing the sadhana. How the sadhaka has to be. How he has to maintain his universal love with all the people, and how he's supposed to be egoless. All these concepts in these 3 chapters, Swami has explained beautifully, and explained means what is his expectations is very clearly mentioned in these particular 3 chapters. I'd love to introduce, not an introduction, again, it's a kind of, so our loving brother, Amarnath sir, is going to take care of these 3 chapters. Came up with a beautiful slides, and it will be a kind of thunderous discussion, thunderous speech will be there from our Amarnath sir. Sai. Thank you very much for joining Vahini Swadhyaya. Sir, Amarnath sir,
Thank you.
It's all you. About you.
Thank you.
I'm just sharing the screen, sir. Thank
Yes.
you, sir.
Sai Ram, my
Yes,
heartfelt salutations at the divine lotus feet of our dearest Lord, and praying for His divine blessings, presence, and guidance today in my presentation of chapter 15, 16, and 17 of this beautiful Vidya Vahinis. Sai Ram, to all of you, my loving fellow Vidyarthis and fellow Vidyarthinis, chosen by our Lord Himself, to learn the Vahinis penned by Him. Yes, we are doubly blessed in our spiritual sadhana. As per Manduka Upanishad, you are aware that there are 2 types of Vidyas. Dve Vidya Viditaha, it says. They are Apara Vidya, or worldly knowledge, or bookish knowledge, or as Swami puts it, kukri book knowledge. This is related to the head and is categorized as lower knowledge. Then we have the Paravidya, or the Paramatma Vidya, or the spiritual knowledge, or higher knowledge, which is related to the spiritual heart, leading us to self-realization. Now, both Paravidya and Aparavidya are like 2 wings of a bird. Both are required, though Paravidya is more important. Now, Vidya is loosely translated as education, and present-day education sadly concentrates more on Aparavidya. There's an interesting humorous analogy to illustrate this. Moses gave 10 commandments for spiritual development or Paravidya. But our present day educationists created one more commandment or 11 commandments. What is this 11th commandment? It says, even if you disobey the 10 commandments of Moses, learn to circumvent and not to get caught. It's like our present day students marriage without helmet, avoiding the police while driving a two-wheeler. Swami has beautifully listed out number of do's and don'ts in these 3 chapters, which are required for a self-transformation and spiritual evolution to ultimately merge with him in self-realization, and supported with beautiful Sanskrit verses from the ancient scriptures, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam for clarity. I have tried to use these verses as the basis of my presentation and understanding of these 3 chapters. Now, we start with the slide 1. Swami starts by defining who is a Sajjana. Sajjana or Satjana is a good, virtuous man who follows the Sanatana Dharma. In respect of education or Vidya, Swami calls a Sajjana as a person with knowledge who shares knowledge, shares skills, insights in a spirit of Tyaga or a spirit of generosity, born out of renunciation so that everyone benefits. So Sajjana is Tyaga, and Swami says we should be like a Sajjana. Mahatma Gandhi defined Tyaga as simple living and high thinking. But instead, what is happening today is simply living but thinking high of themselves. This is where the concept of Paropakaram mentioned in the topic comes into the picture. Para is others and Upakar is help or benevolence to others. Its origin is from the ancient scriptures. Now let us look at the first slide for better clarity. The first verse reads, Paropakaram phalanti vrikshaha. The trees do the greatest paropakaram, as you all know. Standing in the sun, rain, storm or wind, it gives us fruits, leaves, shade, firewood, oxygen. Even its roots are useful. All for the benefit of others, Swami writes. It does not eat its own fruit, but only gives to others to benefit. Let us recall the beautiful story of one of Lord Krishna's favorite possession, the flute of the bamboo. The gopis were jealous of the flute, as the Lord always carried it with him, slept with it, woke up every morning with his lips on it. To clarify this, the bamboo flute shares its lovely story of sacrifice and surrender, how it laid down its life for Krishna, endured the pain of cutting, making holes in it, in total surrender, in service to the Lord. And on top of it, was completely hollow inside, with no ego, so as to allow the Lord to blow soft, beautiful music through it. The Lord, in turn, rewards the sacrifice made by his closeness to the flute. A beautiful lesson on renunciation and Tyaga, which the gopis understood as the best way to be close to the Lord. This is the tree. The second verse reads, Paropakaraya Vahanti Nadyaha. Nadyaha, rivers. The river flows endlessly for the benefit of others. They don't drink themselves, but quench the thirst of others in spirit of sacrifice. The third verse reads, Paropakaraya Duhanti Gavaha, Gavaha, the cow, the holy cow, the Gomata, gives milk to others, milks for others to consume, benefit, and does not drink itself. No wonder it is worshipped as a holy mother. Now, after all these three beautiful examples on Paropakaram, Swami talks of the famous saying, Paropakaram idam shariram. The body or sharira is gifted to us by God, and it is a temple of God. It is meant for sacrifice. It is meant for selfless service. Service to man is service to God. For example, our Narayan Seva we do is Paropakara. But Swami warns here that in the name of Manava Seva is Madhava Seva, many people misuse it for selfish interest, which should be avoided. This is about Paropakaram. Swami clarifies the Nara Narayana principle. Nara is human or Jivatma, and Narayana is Paramatma. For example, Arjuna is Jivatma, and Krishna is Paramatma. So the Lord explains to Arjuna, the Nara, that he is Narayana in the Bhagavad Gita, meaning Jivatma and Paramatma are one and the same. So every act of sacrifice is service to God alone. Nara is Narayana, and this should never be forgotten, says Swami. There's another interesting verse by Swami in this chapter on service. Shreyaste Vishveshwaraha. Hope you remember Shreyas and Prayas we discussed earlier. Shreyas elevates the soul, and Prayas only elevates the senses. Shreyaste means noble deeds, and Vishveshwaraha is for the welfare of humanity and the world peace. In other words, a true Vidyarthi does noble service before self for the welfare of humanity and world peace and prosperity. Now, Swami then talks about egolessness and humility required in service. Talking about ego and humility, Swami often quotes in his talks an very interesting episode of Emperor Ashoka, which I want to share. Once when Ashoka went round the capital with his minister, he saw a Buddhist monk on the road. At once Ashoka got down from his chariot and placed his head at the feet of the monk, bowed to seek his blessings. Now, the egoistic minister who was sitting beside him did not like his emperor to go down, and Ashoka could read his thoughts. He asked the minister to fetch 3 heads, the head of a goat, the head of a tiger, and that of a man. When the minister brought it, he asked him, go to the market and sell them soon and come back. The minister could only sell the goat and the tiger's head, but he could not sell the head of the man, however much he tried. Then Ashoka explained to the minister that the head is valued only when life is in the body and not lifeless. So, he told the minister, use it whenever there is an opportunity to be humble, prostrate not only to God, but holy men too. Seek their blessings and good wishes, giving up all ego. A lesson on ego and humility told by Swami. Now coming back to the egoless service, we have lovely examples from our scriptures. Our loving brother Mahendra is also going to share about the picture, about the poster, about the humility and egolessness of Bharata. Then we have the immortal selfless service of Jatayu in Ramayana, sacrificing its life for making efforts in saving Mother Sita being abducted by Ravana. Jatayu was too old, knew he could not fight the mighty Ravana, but still he does his best in service of the Lord. the Lord, moved by the selfless service of Jatayu, performs the last rites himself of his ardent devotee. But I must surely tell you of supreme selfless seva done with supreme prema by a staunch devotee of our Swami. Many of you might have heard about him. His name is B.M. Vadegavkar from Nagpur, Maharashtra. He was a devotee from 1972 onwards, and this incident happened in early 80s. He was serving as a Sevadal worker at Prashanti Nilayam. He was actually suffering from prolapsed disc and spondylitis. But that did not deter him at all. Mr. Kutumrao was then the secretary, and there was a panic situation due to a huge blockage in the sewerage and septic tank at Ishwarama's Samadhi. They were wondering what to do. And Mr. Vadengavkar, when he heard this, rushed to the scene. He begged Kutumrao to please permit him to enter the septic tank along with his fellow volunteers. He was reluctantly allowed. Mr. Vadengavkar and his team entered the septic tank and, believe it or not, worked with their bare hands and legs non-stop to clear and clean the septic tank, much to the relief of everyone. Let us look at the pictures. Look at the selfless service being done. Swami, of course, blessed him and his team. Swami once pointed his fingers towards him during the darshan time and told the boys, "Do you know what is supreme seva with supreme love? This man cleans even the septic tank with his own hands in seva, and that is supreme seva." Koti koti pranams to such noble persons. I sometimes ask myself sincerely, if I were in his position or even a humble Sevadal member of his team, would I really do it? You all kindly remember the prayer written by Swami, which I had shared some time ago. Let us read it again. The beautiful second and the last line. Mahendra, can you share the next screen? Yes, I don't know whether you can read it, but let me read it for you. The second line reads, this is written by Swami. Second line reads, "O Lord, take my hands and let them work incessantly for thee." And the last line of the prayer, "O Lord, take my everything and let me be an instrument to thy work." This is true egoless service mentioned by Swami in this chapter. Now from egoless service, let us move on into compassion and cleanliness. Swami writes that a Vidyarthi must possess kindness, compassion, and love towards all beings. If a person bears ill will against any being, his education has no meaning whatsoever. The very first Sanskrit verse from this topic is taken by Swami from chapter 12.13 of Bhagavad Gita on devotional service. Here, Lord Sai Krishna is explaining to Arjuna the qualities of a pure devotee who is dear to him, who pleases him. By the way, have you seen the video of students pleading to Swami to visit their hostel? Please Swami, non-stop they plead. And Swami finally replies, "Yes, you all please Swami," meaning you perform actions to please Swami. The Bhagavad Gita describes the qualification of such a devotee by the words, "Advesha sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha." Advesha is one who has no dvesha, meaning no hate or envy, and sarva bhutanam meaning to all the beings. Maitra is friendly and karuna is compassion. In other words, a person who has no hate, envy, but friendly and compassionate to all beings is dear to the Lord. So a person with Advesha, Maitra and Karuna, the three important qualities told by Swami, is very important. Talking of Advesha, Maitra and Karuna, we have the greatest example in Draupadi. The compassion in forgiving Ashwatthama, son of Drona, who out of vengeance killed all the 5 sons of Draupadi in their sleep. And she, in return, forgives him because she did not want his mother to feel the same way she is now feeling due to the loss of her 5 sons. The compassion of a mother who chose forgiveness over revenge. Beautiful. This is yet another very interesting example of Mother Sita, which I wish to share. This picture is shown in the slide. Now, after the war was won and Ravana is killed, Hanuman goes to inform the good news to Sita at the Ashokavanam. Sita is elated hearing the good news and grants any boon that Hanuman may choose to ask. Now Hanuman asked Sita to just grant a permission to kill all the demons who, while guarding her, were torturing her, frightening her. Mother Sita exhibited her unlimited compassion and magnanimity towards them and told Hanuman, please don't harm them because they were helpless, working under Ravana's instructions, and it was not their fault. How very magnanimous. Look at the beautiful examples of our scriptures on Advesha and Samadarshana for us to emulate. To our educated youngsters of today, know our priceless scriptures is what Swami keeps asking. Next we come to another interesting Sanskrit quote from Upanishads mentioned by Swami, which reads, Sarva Jiva Tiraskaram Keshavam Pratigacchati. Tiraskaram means injury or insult, not necessarily in words, but either in thought or word or deed. So this means any insult or injury or hurt done to any being is an injury or hurt to the great Lord himself. And Swami says, education has no meaning to such persons who ignore, because God is present everywhere, in everyone. He is omnipresent. And He is the one to take all the hurt and the injury. I'm sure many of you have observed and are aware of the white patch on Tirupati Balaji's chin. Camphor, or Pachakarpuram as it is called, is applied on the chin every day and is a constant reminder of the hurt caused to the Lord. Let us quickly recollect the story of the Archaka named Ananta, who once caused a hurt by throwing a stick at an innocent 12-year-old boy who was helping his pregnant wife in the temple. The 12-year-old was none other than the Lord himself in disguise. After throwing the stick, Archaka realized his folly and ran after the boy to help. The boy was nowhere to be found in the temple. At last, Ananta entered the holy sanctum of Balaji and was shocked to see the chin of the Lord bleeding. Truth dawned on Ananta that it was the Lord whom he had hurt. To stop the bleeding, he applied Pachakarpura and begged to the Lord for forgiveness. To this day, Pachakarpura is applied to the Lord's chin, and the stick of Ananta is also displayed as a constant reminder to us, Sarva Jiva Tiraskaram Keshavam Pratigacchati. In other words, hurt never, help ever principle. As a corollary to this verse, the word Tiraskaram is replaced by Namaskaram. That is, Sarva Jiva Namaskaram Keshavam Pratigacchati. That is, reverence shown to all beings also reaches the God. These verses are meant to show the omnipresence of God and the principle of help ever, hurt never, always told by our beloved Swami. Swami quotes another verse from chapter 5, verse 18 from Bhagavad Gita, which reads, Vidya Vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shunichaiva shavapake pandita samadarshinaha. This is called the Samadarshina Sloka, meaning see all with equal vision. The meaning is a Panditaha, a truly learned one with Vinaya or humility, sees a Brahmin, a Gavi or a cow, a Hastini or an elephant, Shuni or a dog, or even a Shavapake or the lowest dog eater as equal or same. In other words, same divinity exists in all, though the physical bodies appear different, and the truly educated will never differentiate, but love all, hurt never principle. See God everywhere, Swami says. Let us look at the next slide. Then Swami talks of another very important quality, cleanliness. And this is also called Saucham in Sanskrit. There are two types of Saucham, Bahir Saucham or external purity, and Antra Saucham or internal purity. Now what are these? I am projecting the list of the consolidated list of all the 9 external purity aspects and details of internal purity from the Satya Sai Speaks, volume 18, chapter 31 for our discussions. Swami says both are important. Let me read it out for you. We come to the external purity. Purity of place you live. Purity in family understanding. Purity of food we eat. Purity of fluids we take. Purity in books we read. Purity in service we do. Purity in vision. Purity in occupation. Purity in spiritual sadhana. Now, Antra Saucham or internal purity, it consists of purity in thought, word and deed, or Antakarana Shuddhi, involving Manas, Chitta, Buddhi and Ahankara, which we discussed earlier. The 6 Shadripus, or Kama, Krodha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya and Lobha, which needs to be avoided, is what Swami writes. Swami often quotes the story of Nala Maharaj, who was a dharmic king, but suffers badly because of personal impurity like gambling and karma during the discharge of his kingly duties. He had to suffer immense hardship on this account. Lost his kingdom, got separated from his wife, became deformed, bitten by a snake, had to serve as a charioteer, all because of his personal impurities. It's only by severe austerities and recital of Gayatri that he was able to purify himself, transform to his dharmic old self. He regained his kingdom, wife, and was able to rule the kingdom on dharmic principles with his internal purities being purified. Swami often quotes this for demonstrating the efficacy of the Gayatri mantra. Now I wish to share another very interesting anecdote, the life of Sri Arvind Balasubramaniam of Radio Sai, whom I'm sure you all know. He was one day sitting as a student in the front row for Swami's darshan in the Kulwant Hall. Swami passed by him, stopped, materialized vibhuti and gave it to a foreigner sitting nearby and also to some of the neighbors of his. Now Arvind jumped to give his reserved hand key to Swami, which Swami took, wiped, as usual. I don't know whether you have seen these things, wiped and threw it back to Arvind. Now Arvind also carried some pieces of paper. Normally he used to distribute so that people could keep the vibhuti.
Not audible.
Yeah, now are you hearing me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Amarnath, sir. We are able to. Suddenly it got slow, no?
There was
the voice.
Fortunately.
So I think you are a little away from the mic. Yeah.
No, it was the phone. So, now coming back to the vibhuti. So Swami, materialized vibhuti and gave to the gave it to the foreigner, and the Arvind jumped to give the hand key, took the hand key back and kept it in his pocket, and he had piece of paper to give to all the people so that, they can keep the vibhuti. Now, he went and gave the piece of paper to the foreigner looked at his pocket and said he wanted the handkerchief in his pocket. Now imagine Arvind's position. He was taken aback, and when the foreigner asked for his sacred position, Arvind's immediate reaction, he shook his head, said no, and sat back in his seat. Then started the fight between the angel in his mind and the devil in his mind. The angel telling him, recalling Swami's teachings, how can you be so selfish, so envious, so possessive? Give, give, give. The devil in him argued, but he has received vibhuti already from Swami. Why give mine? Later, Swami went to the interview room and all the devotees started dispersing, rushing towards the canteen, etc. Arvind sat looking at the foreigner. He was still meditating. He waited, and then he went over to the foreigner, tapped him on the shoulder. The foreigner looked up. Arvind smiled, dropped his precious hand key on the foreigner's lap, and quickly moved away. He hid behind one of the pillars to observe the foreigner's reaction. He saw the immense happiness on his face. The foreigner hugged, kissed the hand key with tears of joy in his eyes. He was turning to look for Arvind, who was not there. But Arvind, watching, was in equal bliss. He was also in bliss. He had made his Lord happy. When selfishness, envy is replaced by love, we get the bliss from our Lord. After this serious discussion, I wish to share another interesting incident on the external purity. Swami, as many of you are aware, used to visit the hostel at Parthi and also at Vrindavan, and also the canteen. He was very particular of the cleanliness. The room, the complete hostel, everything must be in order. He often pointed out an uncleaned fan or a light or improper door lock. And so all the students would clean up the premises before Swami's visit. Swami mentions about the various types of cleanliness, keeping the books, clothes, room, walls, body, and so on in this chapter. Now coming back to the incident, now after each such visit to the hostel, and when inspection of the last room is over, the students were allowed to take Pada Namaskaram, only if Swami permitted. So here one of the boys made bold to ask Swami if they could have the Pada Namaskaram. Swami agreed. Soon a lot of whispers, among the students, how they should go about doing fast, so that as many students as possible could get the Pada Namaskaram. So the first student, he bent down, touched Swami's feet, did Namaskaram, got up, in a jiffy, it was over. Now it was his turn of the second. He kneeled down, went at Swami's feet, then stay put at Swami's feet, never got up, as seconds ticked by. The other students waiting in queue felt jittery. Swami also stood waiting. At last, after what seemed to be an eternity, this boy finally got up, face red, swollen, with tears in his eyes, as though something terrible had happened. Swami glanced and moved on. Few more got the Pada Namaskarams, and then Swami went away. All the boys surrounded the second boy to inquire what really happened. The boy was still dazed. He recounted what happened. He said, as he bent and kissed Swami's feet, Swami held his nose between his two big toes. The boy tried and tried to free his nose. He just could not. Finally, Swami let him go. And he got up, and so his face was red, swollen, and tears came from his eyes. Swami had played a big prank on this innocent boy, and all the boys had a hearty laugh. How much Swami really loved them. All this is a sense of humor of our Lord. He sometimes punishes so that, we may learn. Of the compassion and cleanliness, Swami talks about jealousy, hatred, and envy, which are the root causes of all anxieties and calamities. He quotes Sai Krishna. He quotes as Sai Krishna telling Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, you have to be envyless. Don't get infected by envy. Actually, one of the greatest examples of envy, as you know, was Duryodhana. I had a doubt and asked one of my expert friends on Bhagavad Gita, why Krishna did not teach Bhagavad Gita to Duryodhana instead of Arjuna. Then there would have been no bloodshed in the Kurukshetra war at all. Now he was telling me that the Lord did approach Duryodhana before the war and tried to counsel him in saying what he was doing is adharmic and wrong. The reply of Duryodhana is a great lesson on envy to all of us. He says, I know what is right. I am not able to practice it. I know what is wrong and unable to keep away from it. Indirectly telling Krishna in vanity to keep off. Many of us are in the same situation many a times, crowded by the impelling power of Maya, and the only solution is Atma Tattva, as Swami says. Swami writes about the importance of self-confidence and equanimity, which are very important. Praising and condemning are both bad, Swami writes. Swami here says that end of each day, one must do retrospection about the faults and pray to God to save them from evil tendencies. While keeping away from the 3 C's, don't condemn, don't complain, don't criticize, Swami gives a practical way of how to face unwanted criticisms and hurts, which I would like to share. Swami shares a story, to illustrate this, a story of a poor donkey which fell into a well and started braying for help. The passers-by, instead of helping, threw mud into the well to bury the irritating sound. The donkey kept shrugging off the mud thrown on it and not get buried. Finally, there was so much of mud which formed a big mound, and the mound helped the donkey to climb out and come out of the well. Did you get the point? Swami says, mud thrown are like abuses to be shrugged away and used constructively like the donkey than getting buried. Citing the example, Swami says, use criticism and abuses constructively. He adds on, let us say somebody has criticized us. Don't react, but think, do I really have the defects? If so, why get angry? See it positively. If we don't have the defects, why bother at all and get angry? Shrug it away like the donkey. He then talks about himself. So, when somebody calls me Puttatala Sai Baba or basket-like head Sai Baba, why get upset? Because I do have such a hair. But if they call me Pattatala Sai Baba or bald Sai Baba, then it is not true. So again, why bother? So equanimity is important, Swami quips. I shared this Puttatala and Pattatala to my better half. She said, Swami may say so many things, but you don't call him Puttatala or Pattatala. So possessive was Swami, you see. Swami also said to a student who asked him, how many times will Swami forgive the mistakes? And Swami replied, as long as you sincerely repent from the bottom of your heart, we need to repent. And as Swami says, we should pray for correction. Of course, like Krishna and Shishupala story, if you keep on repeating the same mistake without remorse 101 times, like Shishupala, then perhaps no alternative but Sudarshana Chakra from Swami. So let us learn to be equanimous, as told by Swami. See, in this chapter, Swami talks about Sumati Satakamu. You know, the next slide, Mahendra. Yeah. You see, it is frankly, I knew nothing about Sumati Satakamu and tried to find out. You see, actually, they are beautiful, self-contained, moral verses totaling to 100 numbers, meant for common man, more than 8 centuries old. It was supposedly written by one Vadena Bhupala, who lived in the 13th century. I will share the English version to the group, which is very informative. We have similar moral verses in Kannada, in Sarvagna Vachana, Vasavanna Vachana, and one of the beautiful recent authors, D.V. Gundappa, on Mankutimma Kagga. Our country has vast treasure house of knowledge and wisdom. Coming back to Swami's writings, he quotes a beautiful verse from the Sumati Satakam displayed on the screen. Sumati is an imaginary female character of virtue. I'm not very strong in Swachha Telugu, but the meaning I have written down there also is interesting. It talks of friendship and finding fault in a person. It reads, Sumati, as long as you remain friends with someone, you don't really find or notice any defects in the other person. But once the friendship turns sour, you will notice defects, only defects, thereby spoiling your mental peace. It is important to maintain happy relationship and have mental peace. See good, love all, hate none, as God alone is the indweller, as told by Swami. Now, other beautiful quotes from this chapter I would like to read. Eyes that seek evil, ears that relish evil, tongue that craves evil, nose that enjoys foul smell, and hands that delight in evil must be totally avoided, as future of such persons is disastrous, says Swami. This is the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, taste no evil, smell no evil principle. Help ever, hurt never principle of Swami. Then Swami stresses the importance of character. As the saying goes, the end of education is character. Now Swami says, life without character is a shrine without light, a coin that is counterfeit, a kite with a broken string, meaning what is use of a God's shrine without light? A duplicate counterfeit coin or a kite that cannot fly with a broken string, they are all useless. So also life without character is useless, says Swami. Now we have discussed so far about some of the important aspects of Vidyarthi, like egoless service, compassion, cleanliness, and need to shun jealousy and hatred. We are all Vidyarthis too, lifelong in spiritual sadhana, and now Vidyarthis of Vahini. But are we Sai students? How does a normal Vidyarthi differ from the Sai student? A food for thought, for introspection. Here I wish to narrate one last incident about our Swami, which happened during a Trai session at Brindavan in the early 90s. As you are aware, Trai sessions of Swami, his students and teachers, and some VIPs were the most cherished educative lessons of Swami. In this session, a High Court lady judge was also present. The attendees, one of the attendees, and her son had graduated from the Satisai Institute of Higher Learning, Kadugodi, Bangalore. Swami asked her, "How are you?" And the lady replied, "Swami, I have come to share a very good news with you. My son is going abroad for higher studies." Swami responded, "Santosham, my blessings to him." The lady replied again, "Swami, he was your student." Swami's reply shocked her and everyone. He said, "He was not my student." The lady tried clarifying, "Swami, he graduated from your university." Now Swami was very clear and repeated, "He was not my student." This statement of Swami shocked the lady, as also some of the students who knew the boy, and also the staff members present. Swami could see the restlessness and went about clarifying. "You see, you join the institute, undergo the syllabus and curriculum prescribed by the university. You write the exam. The college evaluates your answer papers, gives you pass or fail, and accordingly, the university either gives you the paper, degree certificate, or no, as a bona fide student of the university. In the same manner, if you want to be a Sai student, you have to follow my curriculum, my topics, my attendance, my requirements, and then pass my exam. If you pass and I am satisfied, I will give you a certificate that you are my student. Only then you are Sai student." There was pin drop silence. The boys started wondering if they are student of the institute and also student of Swami or not. Someone then asked, "Can one be a Sai student without being a Sai university student?" A Sai student without being a Sai university student. Swami said, "Surely yes." Then he asked, "What about students of Sathya Sai Institute?" They asked. Swami replied, "They have the greatest chance to become a Sai student, being with me always, listening to my talks, with ample opportunities to transform." Now this is as far as the students of the institute. What about us? We have not studied at the institute or privileged to do so. Can we become Sai student? The answer, in my humble opinion, is yes. By triple transformation, we learnt earlier with the letters S, A, I, which Swami has always told. Yes, for spiritual transformation as prescribed by Swami. A, for associational transformation, that is change in one's relationship with others in society as per Swami's guidelines. And I stands for individual transformation. Some of us are already discussing today. Of course, it is not an easy task, but as Swami says, we again need to use the 5 Ds. Dedication, devotion, discipline, discrimination, and determination. Then we qualify to become a Sai student and we continue our journey to our ultimate goal of Atma Tattva. Now, how do we test our progress? Okay. How do we test our progress? Prem Anush mentions an easy way. Think and ask yourself every time if your action in thought, word and deed has pleased Swami. You can see Swami in your mental screen after every action, whether he is angry, happy, or wants us to improve further. The day we see Swami smiling, welcoming us with open arms as a Sai student, we are on the right track to our ultimate goal of self-realization. I am God, you are God, everything around us is God, and love is God, God is love. This is our ultimate goal. So with these humble thoughts and my understanding of these 3 chapters, I once again thank Swami for being with us right through. My heartfelt thanks to Brother Mahendra and all of you, my dear Sai family of Vidyarthis and Vidyarthinis, for this precious opportunity in presenting my views. Sai Ram, and over to Brother Mahendra to take over the session. Thank you. Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram.
Sairam sir. Thank you very much. A unique way of representation of the chapters in, as always, Amarnath sir, you will come up with many practical approaches, many experiences from the devotees. You always come and have a kind of, you'll give a kind of very much, experiences of the devotees and the teachings from Swami. You will relate to the content of the chapters. Always a unique way of presentation from you, Sairam. Thank you, sir. Amarnath sir, thank you very much. Brothers and sisters, just want to give a kind of a small what I say is basically like to this time just a touch to the spiritual touch to this session, as the particular chapters, these 3 chapters talks about the Vidyarthi, Adarsha Vidyarthi. So that is the reason I just came up with this poster, Vasishtha Gita. As we know, Swami, as a role model, to showcase the Vedas in one particular human being, to showcase that as a role model, Swami took this avatar as Sri Rama, Lord Sri Rama. But being he as a Lord, very sincerely as a student, he listened to Vishwaguru Vasishtha. So, how a Vidyarthi is supposed to act, same way he acted. I mean, how a Vidyarthi must act, and that he has shown as a Lord Sri Rama. He listened to all how the mind works, how the mind diverts, or how the mind try to take you into the worldly things, how the mind take you to the cosmic things. All in all directions, as you know, Vasishtha Gita will talk about purely about the mind. So the manas, how it works. So all has been, Swami has listened in the form of Sri Rama, though he only created everything, but he listened as a student. It's a very unique case. So there itself is a very role model for all these 3 points. He showed the compassion on the sage Vasishtha himself, though he is a guru, and he maintained all that cleanliness of his mind, and he also don't have any such kind of different opinion as he is a Lord. Don't know whether the Bharata has listened all these things, whatever has been told to by Vasishtha to Sri Rama. He completely, though he has a very good, his father has already given the kingdom. It's completely as an ancestor property. He has been crowned as a prince. He has to take care of the kingdom. But it's all came it's by law. By law it came to him, basically. But still, without any ego, without any such kind of things, completely selfless, he went to his brother, took his padukas, kept in that crown. I mean, then he has been, as a guardian, he has maintained the whole kingdom. he ensured that he has been, implemented all this service has been provided to the kingdom, basically without any ego. He implemented all these things, and then he showed his, completely, I can say they're representing this particular chapter's, characteristics very much. So it's like when it comes to the touch, apart from the mythology part, if it comes to our, to us, basically, all these, unless until we do the cleanliness of our mind, unless until we do maintain the compassion, unless until we have maintained the universal love across the living elements, irrespective of the religious approach. So if we do all those things, obviously we will go into the egoless service, and we will be, as much as we can, reduce our ego. This is what the message from Swami, and this is what has been projected in the posters. Thank you very much, Amarnath sir. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters, for joining the Vahini Swadhyaya. Now it is open for the discussion. We will go in the, like a reversible order. Now I'll go to Sai Chandrasekhar sir. Sir, can you please provide your input?
Sairam, Mahendra. Sairam everyone, and thank you Amarnath sir for that lively and energy-filled presentation. I'll start off from where he ended, where Swami says that you follow the curriculum of the university, you are a student of the university. And if you follow my curriculum, you become my student. And I think for all of us who are members of the Satya Sai Seva organization, I think Swami has given a very clear curriculum in the form of the 9-point code of conduct. So the way I look at it is that is our curriculum, and if we follow that, then we all become Swami students. Of course, it's easier said than done, but I think that is the sadhana which each one of us, I'm sure, are doing regularly in terms of following that. But to me, that gives a structure and a very clear way forward. Otherwise, it can be a bit hazy. So that's why I guess Swami gave us the 9-point code of conduct and said, okay, go follow this. Coming back to the egoless service, so I have a few comments and a few questions, so I'll mix it up. Here Swami says, serving those who harm us is the greater virtue. And immediately after that, he says, when dealing with uncultured folk and with ungrateful fellows who forget the good done to them, one has to exercise caution. So how does one reconcile these 2 points is a bit of a struggle in my mind. So does it mean that, yes, you continue to serve them, but be careful how you serve them? Or what exactly does that mean? Because on one hand, he says serving those who harm us is a greater virtue, and here he says be careful when dealing with them. So that was kind of one point which I'm trying to reconcile. And related to that is this point from the Gita where he says the learned person who has acquired humility through spiritual knowledge must deal with the cow, the Brahmin, the elephant, the dog, and the eater of dog flesh with equal compassion and consideration. And eater of dog flesh probably is relatively easy, but if you extend that, say some murderer, how does one actually deal with that when you say equal compassion and consideration? What exactly is expected of us when we deal with someone like that is the other related question, which I think the two are slightly linked to each other. There's a point which he also makes that both the goal and the action must serve the needs of society and help it to progress. And here I think this is kind of a reminder that the means is as important or maybe more important than the end. It's just not the goal, but goal and the action. Both he's stressing on that, and because that's something which is generally misunderstood, that so long as the end is met, it doesn't matter what the means are, is a view many people hold. But here he's very clearly saying that the means is as important or maybe more important than the end. In chapter 17, he starts off with envy. Now, I was wondering, is the root cause of envy, is it desires? Because if one doesn't have desires, then there's no question of having envy. So maybe the way to being less envy is sealing on desires. As we control our desires, have less and less desires, then the chance of being envious is going to be less and less. And probably that's why we have the Sealing on Desires program. And the last point I just wanted to mention is from that Sumati Shatakam, where he talks of, if you're a friend of someone, then everything the person does seems good, and if you're not friendly with the person, then even a right becomes a wrong when the friendship disappears. Now, this kind of goes back to attributing motives, right? For the same action, we attribute different motives to different people for the same action and the same result. So I'm just wondering, what do we need to do to stop attributing motives? While we know we should not, how do we kind of refrain from that? Was a thought which came. So I think these are some of the points that came to my mind. Sorry for the long one. Thanks, Mahendra. Back to you.
Sairam, thank you, sir. Even for me, it's a kind of making difficult to note the points. Second one is very clear, sir, how the compassion can be taken between the, like a person who has a different evil mindset and then the persons who has a sattvic mindset, how to deal with this. Third one is related to the envy. And the fourth one related to the Sumati Satakam, which is related to that, and how to deal when there is a kind of, again, such a situation occurs when the, how to deal basically, when you are in a friendship and then when you are not in a friendship, how to deal such a situation. First one I'm missing, sir, the point. Just want to mention here in the chat so that it will be good for everyone to.
No, first one was not a question. It was more a comment that to be a Swami student, the syllabus that Swami has given us as members of the organization is the 9-point code of conduct. So I was just saying that in my understanding, if we follow the 9-point code of conduct, then it means that we are Swami student, because that's the syllabus he has given us as organization members.
Okay, thank you. Sairam, I'll go ahead with the reversible order, like how we every week will do. Sairam, Sai, sir, can you please provide your input?
Sairam, sir.
Sairam, sir.
Sairam, everybody. It was an excellent session presented by our brother Amarnath, giving a lot of anecdotes and learnings from Swami. Especially one incident which I liked maximum was about a brother from Maharashtra who went to Puttaparthi and he was cleaning even the septic tank. That shows the true service without any expectations. That's a wonderful one. And at the end, he even spoke about Sai, what is S, social transformation and associated transformation A and individual transformation. That's also a wonderful learning for me. And then coming to the point of what our brother Chandrasekhar was making a mention, how to become, we are all Sai devotees, Swami's devotees, and he has given code of conduct. Here I feel, it's just my feeling, it's also a suggestion and a request. We know this 9 code of conduct. Why we should not try to do an introspection on a daily basis and try to find out to what extent we fit into those parameters. And in case if there is some deficiency, then how to improve upon that particular point, ponder upon that, how to change ourselves and transform ourselves. This is one thing which I feel, since we are very closely approaching centenary year also, this can be taken as one of the tasks and try to offer at the lotus feet of Swami, that 9-point code of conduct, and to what extent we have done our introspections. This is my small suggestion, and as is known, our brother Amarnath, he has given an excellent topics for us to ponder upon. An excellent subject he's dealt. It was very, very crispy, and it was something like people often use a proverb like hitting the nail on the head. So the subject was, and his presentation was like that, driving the message very nicely. Thank you, Sai Ram. I don't want to take more time. Thank you, sir. Sai Ram, sir.
Sairam sir, just a point about, I think, couple of months or 3 months back, the Satsai Seva organization released a booklet or a diary kind of a thing which guides one through the introspection process, where they have suggested that every day in the night we spend 5 minutes or 10 minutes and jot down the points there. So that's something which I think which you mentioned, which is very important. And in order to help provide a structure to that, the organization has actually released a methodology and a booklet to help people in case they want that.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
Sairam. Thank you, Rishi Sai. Sairam Ramchandra, sir. Can you please provide your inputs, sir?
Sairam Mahendra.
Sairam, sir.
Today being Ratha Saptami day, I want to plug whatever our Amarnath has told regarding the purity, selflessness, what Swami has brought out in Surya, in Kathopanishad. Swami says, what Surya is having, that Ratha Saptami is like Swami's avatara. Avatara there, no? In the same fashion that Surya's avatara, what Bhagavan has given, his work, what he has to do. He has given a Ratha, chariot. It has got only one wheel and 7 horses, and all the threads are nothing but the snakes. And his Sarathi is Aruna, where he doesn't have legs. And then he is going on Akasha, sky. There is no support at all. Even then, morning he rises and goes at evening, and sunset, he'll be there. And for him there is no disease, no cold. He keeps on doing his work. That work itself has become his inbuilt nature. Agni has got the heatness itself is the nature. So in the same fashion, but one major thing what Surya is having, Suryo yata sarva lokasya chakshuhu न लिप्यते चाक्षुषैर्बाह्यदोषैः एतस्तथा अंतरात्मा न लिप्यते lokasya loka dukkena bhakyah. That means that Surya, even though he is doing the selfless service and everything, he is not bonded to anything. For your eyes, if you, without Surya you will not see, but whatever the pain, you will get it from the eyes or outside like that. He is not bothered about it. There is no link at all. In the same fashion, Atma, who is in our heart, so he doesn't have any bondage with whatever the sorrows, whatever things are there. You have to be like that. Swami says in that Kathopanishad. Then I will come to the thing is in Bharata, you have shown that picture. It is very nice. The thing is that Tulsidas writes, Janaka is, he comes there and gives the judgment that Bharata asks, Rama has to come back and he has to rule the kingdom. Then Janaka says, you are Bhakta, Rama is Bhagavan. So what you have to do, you cannot be selfish. You cannot ask Bhagavan, you come over to me and then do whatever things and leave me alone. That is not the thing. You have to surrender to your Bhagavan and ask him what you have to do. Then he knows what to do. So that in the same fashion it comes in Ramakatha Rasa Vahini. Okay. So it then he surrenders to Rama. Then what to do? Then a story, you know, everything like that. And he will go and then he take care. And he instructs him, you take care for 14 years. Then he takes care. That is the thing. There is the surrenderness and selflessness. That is called the bhakta. That is called the bhakta. That bhakta and bhakti together it will become Bhagavata. In that way it goes like that. And then one more thing what I want to tell here is whatever that our Amarnaths are told, Arjuna, he could tell to Arjuna, not to Duryodhana. See, that is called the adhikara. That is one sort of adhikara. Bhagavan always, he gives the precaution and he advises the person. If he becomes a Tarkavadi, why you have to do like that? Why I'm not getting Atma here? So like that, so many questions will arise. Then he keeps on and show his vibhuti also, but he will not understand. Shishupal also 100 times he gave the thing, don't bang. So you will be in a difficult situation. No, he didn't hear. So Shishupal got killed. In the same fashion, Suryodhana. But here is the person who was asking the question to know the Atma Jnana. So that's why he would have not shown the interest, he would have not tell. So really the Arjuna, he knows to know the Atma Jnana. He asked the question, he kept on answering the answer towards the Atma Jnana. That is the thing. That's why he told he told about Atma Jnana to Arjuna. Next. Now the thing is 9-point conduct. Now here what is happening? Our Sai family, it is inbuilt. All the 9 points, daily meditation, everybody will do. Devotional singing, they will do. Participation in all the satsang and everything, they will do. Okay, so the thing bhajan they will do, and they will do seva, Narayan seva. That is inbuilt. Everybody in family way they will go, and then Sai literature they will see, Vahini Swadhyaya they will attend, and then everybody Sai's family. I have not seen anybody taking loudly. They talk always softly. So like this, and then behind the screen nobody will bang because it is Sai family. So this is already been inbuilt in Sai family. So now what is happening here is any extra thing is there which we have to understand. So that extra thing we will go and join like that. So for that sake, what is happening? That is what the Swami shown first the hospital seva, grama seva, and everything. Then ultimately he started writing through Naskasturi So this Vahinis, where it is nothing but the simplified Upanishad which goes to our heart. So our way is, now we have come to this stage. Now we have to go for the stage by stage, observe the Upanishad, Vedopanishads inside our heart. The Vahinis, all the Vahinis, then only we can transfer self to transform the world. All other things, everything is being taken care by Sami family persons. Jai Sri Sai Ram.
Sai Ram Ramchandra sir. Thank you, sir. Sai Ram Rajshekar sir. Can you please provide your input, sir?
Sai Ram, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my inputs and about my understanding of today's session. Thanks Mr. Amarnath. He has given a wonderful presentation. His way of presentation is comprehensive and also very simple and easily understandable and thought-provoking. I especially thank Mr. Amarnath for having parted his way of presentation, which immensely benefited me more particularly. I hope so for other brothers and sisters also. Now, the chapter, Egoless Service. అహంకారం ఇల్లద సేవ, అహంకారము లేనటువంటి సేవలు అని తెలుగులో. This is having bearing on the Vidya Vahini, the first chapters. That is the spiritual discipline, ఆధ్యాత్మిక క్రమశిక్షణ, ఆధ్యాత్మిక శిస్తు కన్నడದಲ್ಲಿ. Spiritual preceptors, ఆధ్యాత్మిక బోధకరు, అంటే the spiritual teachers. And culture of dharma, ಧರ್ಮದ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿ, loving service. These are the chapters 5 to 8. And 9, purity of thought, word and deed. That is Trikarana Suddhi, Antakarana Suddhi. And the pathway to the peace. These are the base for these chapters covering under 15 to 17. More particularly chapter 15. The egoless service depends on our spiritual discipline. To conquer egoism, if he has got anyone, if he has got not equipped with the technique of spiritual discipline and guided by the Swami himself, it is very difficult to conquer egoism. Even Vishwamitra failed. He was about to elevate it to the Brahmarishi, but he failed because of that element of egoism. That is such a difficult thing to conquer. Only this can be conquered by the grace of Bhagavan himself. It is very difficult. Therefore, we have to connect to the Bhagavan. What is Bhagavan? He himself is an Atma who parts Atma Jnana, that higher education, higher conscious, imbibed with higher thoughts and words and deeds, that mechanism that works by the Swami's power that has been passed us through, make us to move in that line in the way of life that guides by the pathway to the peace. That is Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That is, we have already discussed previous chapters. Previous chapters we have discussed about this. Unless one has this Antakarana Suddhi, it is very, very difficult to want to elevate to the higher consciousness. And the egoless service, whether you have got an ego or not, the acid test is that you set an example like a tree, that you are set an example like a flute of Lord Krishna, and set an example that you present yourself like a river, and you set an example like how the cow, it serves, and it is a mother in our culture. Either you have got such a qualities or not, if you put a test for that, then you can find that you are egoless. The egolessness will go away by maintaining the teachings, the guidance of Bhagavan, that is Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema. What is truth? The truth, what we generally understand, that we speak Satyam. That is truth only we have to speak. It is not like that. It is also one of the meaning, but the deepest and well-apt meaning in the Adhyatmika Jnana is that Satya means Sat. That is, everything, it looks like different, but it is one. It has been on the base of that one that is everywhere, everything, but all other things looks like different, but it is not different, it is only one. That we are able to, in the spiritual sense, we understand and adopt as the Bhagavan has parted the knowledge and showed the pathway to attain this Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. That is the pathway that we already discussed in earlier chapters. Wonderful presentations were made. Now, Sai Chandrasekhar, that he has mooted one question. It is thought-provoking. That is, Pandita Samadarshanaha. Vidya Vinaya Sampanna Pandita Samadarshanaha. One who called learned and is a master, that he becomes very humble and looks everything alike. He won't differentiate. That we can gain only following the pathway of Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema. The Satya Dharma is the means and the end product is Prema and Shanti. That is the combinedly, we call it as moksha. The moksha is the place, the abode of peace. That is inside and outside, and also it is purity. It is pure. Therefore, antakarana suddhi, that is bahyantara karana suddhi, that is inside and outside you should be very clean, very pure. Only we practice and go in the way Bhagavan has shown. That is Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema. Dharma is when we should understand. That is the Dharma means Niyama, Nirdishta, Niyati, Samhita. Niyama means one should have a code of conduct. That is 9, Swami has given 9 codes of conduct that has to be followed. That is code. How we get it, we will teach it, only we look at the Bhagavan. Because the life of Bhagavan itself is a message. Therefore, my life is my message, Bhagavan has told correctly. That we have looked into it, we were able to understand what the Dharma is. Niyama, Nirtishta, this is specific. Suppose I have given a position like a scavenger position, even though I may be very high, I must do it perfectly, without any ego, without any shyness, without any reservations. That is the way, that is specific. Any duty that will come on our way, we should not differentiate. We have got no authority to do it. Only thing is you are meant to do it perfectly, 100%, without any reservations. Don't expect any praise or anybody curse. Whatever you do it, irrespective of both, do it perfectly. That is the way, that is Niyama Nirdishta. Niyati means that Niyama Nirdishta specific. Niyati means we must maintain the discipline. Completely we must abide by the rules. We should not deviate. yes, that is, with several examples have been given, but in all the difficult circumstances that he has to follow the rules. He could not choose, but only to be with the rules and follow the rules to the last letter. That is niyama nirdishta niyati samhiti. But there is diversified. That is, we see the world that diversified, but it is unified. We look, even though the things look differently, but all are unified, but everybody works in their sphere, but everything is connected. That is the way of the avatars to establish Loka Samasta Sukhino Bandhu. So, the incarnation of Bhagavan is to establish the peace of the entire world. We are all instruments. We have given some duties of different kinds, but everybody is equal in the eye of Swami. Swami loves if you do your duty perfectly without expectation. You love without expectation. Serve without any expectation. That is the Swami's clear message, one and all. And another thing that I have to present in the way that son jealousy and hatred. How we will do it? Suppose the murderer, how can we love him? How can we serve him? Because he is hurt us. That is the question mooted by our brother. That is, this is the way we can son jealousy and hatred. We can cherish prema and love and peace. Prema and shanti. Because the end result is prema and shanti. Both are is equal to moksha. Everybody will attain moksha, that are the eternal peace, that is moksha, that is the way we attain the goal, the end. But for that, Satya Dharma is the means that has to be to the last letter, has to be maintained. That is the only way, but no other way that can be blessed by the Bhagavan himself. Sai Ram, thank you for giving this opportunity, for giving my humble inputs, whatever I understood by the kind presentations and wonderful presentations that has been made by my brother Mr. Amarnath and others who has enlightened me, mooting their own and their inputs, and they made me to have thought-provoking and think over the matter for my better understanding. For giving this opportunity, my salutations to one and all. Thank you, Sairam. Thank you.
Sairam, thank you, Rajshekar sir. Thank you very much for your inputs. As time is passing away, we will take another, I hope it is okay for you all to take another 10 minutes. Sairam, just we will listen to one or two people, participants' inputs, and then we'll go for a conclusion. Sairam, Chandrasekhar sir, Sairam Chandrasekhar Gaud sir, can you please provide your inputs, sir?
Sairam Mahendra. Manas's presentation on egoless service and importance in the daily life has been explained very well, and with nice examples of Ashoka and Swami's previous devotee Vadgaonkar. And other things as explained by others. Only one thing I would like to put up here, like that he has mentioned to Sumati Satakam. So like that we have, I think in every language we have Sumati Satakam on various inputs. That is the compilation of 100 poems. Like that Vemana Satakam on various spiritual matters and whatever is needed for the day-to-day life. Like Dasarathi Satakam and Sri Rama with the one and ending with Vishwadabhirama Vinura Vema. This is with Sumati. This is another one is Dasarathi Karuna Payonidhi. And Amanas are also mentioned about Mankutimana Kaggagalu, if I am right. I am not that much expert in Kannada. So these are all the things which give a lot of inputs. And as it has been mentioned by many people, one thing, see everything, whatever the positive thing you do, whether you are dynamic or you are good at these things, you will be criticized. The elders' advice is still you continue to do. because it helps the society. That one has to do that one. And about what you call dealing with the person who is bad or who is doing harm to others, even then we are supposed to do the good only, because in course of time that reduces the negativity in the person. That's my humble understanding of these things. One should continue to do good irrespective of what the outcome. Sai Ram, thank you for the opportunity, and also Sri Amarnath sir. Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you, Gaut. Thank you. Sai Ram sister, Jai madam, can you please provide your inputs?
Sai Ram brother. It was a wonderful presentation. Thanks to Amarnath brother. With the grace of Swami, he is such a wonderful storyteller. You just want to keep listening to him more and more. Even a small thing he is able to, present it in such an interesting way. Thank you so much, brother. I just want to share 2 points. One was regarding serving those who harm us is a greater virtue, and how we should be also, we have to exercise caution. This is my understanding that many a times we come across such situations with so many different people, could be, extended family members or anywhere. So what I've realized is that if we start drawing some boundary and, and continue to serve, because the minute we stop serving, we start feeling guilty. But drawing boundaries and also with maximum detachment, so that, at the end of the day, our feelings are not hurt, and the feelings get hurt only when we have expectations and when there is attachment. There should be love but not attachment. So this really helps, because one cannot just stop serving people just because they are nasty to us. Then again we will not land up to become Swami's student. So that is something we should do forever. So this is something I have experienced, and it has helped me. It takes a lot of time, but I've realized just draw some boundary. So sometimes that helps. And secondly, I wanted to say that for egoless service, once we are in the Vahini, we become so, always we are thinking about our thoughts, so much of self-analysis we do. So I feel whenever I do Narayana Seva, I try to remember 3 points. That Swami has given this money, to buy the ingredients. Second, he has given me the health to even prepare the food. And third, he has given an opportunity to serve the Narayana, that, I can actually go and give it to him. So, because it's very easy, as some other speaker said, very difficult to overcome this ego. It's easy to say. Sometimes it does come, not in a very proud way, but you just feel that, see, I am doing it. I'm able to do something. It just comes up, pops up. So maybe these 3 points I keep trying to tell so that I can improve in this spiritual path. Thank you so much, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram sister, thank you. Thank you, sister, for all the inputs. Sai Ram Krishnamurti sir, sorry for to say, like, it will be kind of crispy, and then also you please provide in the WhatsApp group also. Yeah. But we want to listen your feedback.
I'll be crispy in my points. And first of all, congrats to Brother Amarnath. As usual, a very vibrant and exuberant, enthusiastic presentation. And so much of examples he has brought in, and 11 commandments, etc., etc. Very nice, very interesting indeed. My points were this. In the first thing, egoless service. It's there in this heading itself, ego, less service. Where there is ego, there is less service. Okay? And what is ego? You're edging God out, ego. When you have ego, you're edging God out. So where there is ego, there is less service. And look at this word service. If you break it up, you have 2 words, sir and vice. Okay? I'll take sir as a Hindi word. Sir is head. When your head is filled with vices, where do you serve? You just don't have that, intention to serve at all. They are full of vices. So when you remove the vices from your head, then comes in the humility, the kindness, and there is no ego at all at that point of time. Then you have that feeling of service which you can do. So Vidya makes one to, sacrifice ego within the fire of, you can call it as it's a yajna. I can call it sacrificing ego is a yajna. And in its place, what do we get from God as a prasadam? That is the love we get from prasadam. So this is from my perspective on the egoless service. When it comes to compassion, there are two words again here I look at, passion and compassion. Passion is personal. A motivation to do something best, something better for better results and all that. That's individual. But compassion is something what you extend to others, involving caring for them, sharing for them. That's one point. And crisply, if I come to cleanliness, we know our body is temple of God. So it has to be clean for God to come and sit in. This is what Tulsidas also says in Hanuman Chalisa. In first doha, what does Tulsidas say? I am cleansing my heart. That's the first doha he says. So that Hanuman, you come and occupy my place in my heart. So apart from the body, the mind also has to be clean. So that cleanliness is body and mind. Third point, when it comes to jealousy or hatred is more in the vision. When we hate somebody, that is, our vision is not proper. To start with, our vision has to be clean. And these are twin evils. Swami has said this. Jealousy and hatred are twin evils, and there is no medicine to it. The only medicine is love. Sairam, Mahendra.
Sairam, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Sridhar, sir, can you please provide your summary, sir, and a crispy? Sorry for using this crispy word. Sairam, sir.
Sairam, sir. Sairam, Brother Amarnath. What a great evening. The sharing by others also has virtually summarized whatever brother covered. But nevertheless, as a part of Mananam, I love to do this. I'll take 3 minutes. He started with Paravidya and Aparavidya. Both are required. It's like a bird requires 2 wings to fly. Both are required. That 11th commandment in this material world is one way of living, but that doesn't produce any happiness or bliss to anybody. Then who's a sajjana, a virtuous person, following dharma, sharing in a spirit of tyaga, born out of renunciation, was beautifully discussed. Gandhiji's statement of simple living, high thinking, in place of simply living and thinking very high of oneself, was a good one, sir. About Paropakara, it was beautifully dealt with, taking the examples of trees, rivers, cow. In all this illustration, none of these do give itself anything. They always give out to the humanity at large. So we need to inculcate similar Paropakara. Swami's statement of Paropakaram Vidam Shariram was again beautifully discussed. This Naraseva, Narayan Seva, Madhav Seva, Manav Seva, and the Narayana Seva illustrations and others have shared so much. And through all these discussions, the beautiful conclusion is the Jivatma and the Paramatma is one and the same. The giver and the taker is all same. The God principle is there in both, was beautifully brought out. And the service without ego and with a sense of humility. This Ashoka's a beautiful example of to the minister to get the head of goat, tiger and a man, and then to sell it. This guy, the minister, could sell goat's head and tiger's head, but there was no taker for man's head. And then he concludes that man's head has value only during its lifetime. Head is valued only when there is life. Use it, and to be humble, prostrate, and give up ego was a very strong message, beautifully said, sir. And the egoless services, examples of Jatayu in Ramayana, And that Nagpur devotee, Vadu Vankar, was fantastic. Yeah, we have heard it several times, but any number of times we can hear to that, because to act is different from merely having intention to act. Something it's a supreme seva. And when Amar said, had I been part of the team, would I have done it? Is something, a question which all of us have, sir, not you alone. And Swami's letter you showed, oh Lord, take my hands, let them work incessantly for thee, was again a very touching coverage. Coming to compassion and cleanliness, you had beautifully brought out the Advesha, Maitra and Karuna, and dealt with it in very comprehensive manner, giving the example of Draupadi forgiving Ashwatthama. That kind of a compassion for, she could realize that another mother would suffer the similar separation what she was suffering, and she compassion over revenge, as brother put it, was beautifully said. He also took the example of Sita, who underwent a lot of torture in Ashokavanam, but when Hanuman announced that the war is over and he would like to kill the demoness who all were troubling mother, she said, no, please do not harm them. It is not their fault. It's again a fantastic illustration to understand. Any hurt to any living being is a hurt to the Lord himself. Sarvajivana tiraskaram Ishwaram prati gacchati. Swami has oftentimes said about the same thing. It was well brought about in the context. The Venkatachalapati story and the Archaka Ananta and the Karpuram on the chin, it's all just to emphasize the fact that when this 12-year-old boy was hurt, it was God himself who was hurt, as the Archaka finally found out. Sarva Jivana Namaskaram Keshavam Prati Gacchati, as we positively looking at it, if we have the reverence for others, it reaches God as well. Samadarshana sloka was beautifully explained. Then we came to cleanliness, Saucham, and your chart was beautiful, sir, with the 9 external other aspects. Then with regard to the material world as well as the spiritual, the Nala Maharaj's story of gambling, karma, suffering, losing his kingdom, his wife suffering a snake bite, and finally being totally lost. Once he started purifying himself and transforming himself with the power of Gayatri, it was very beautiful recall. It gives assurance to people like us who practice Gayatri mantra every day. Yes, you can transform. There is still hope left in all of us that we can transform spiritually. Arvind Balasubramanian's illustration of that hanky was very touchy, sir. Angel versus devil fight was something I enjoyed hearing it from you. Time is running out, so I will keep it. So I also liked the recall of that prank by Swami holding the nose of this boy. It's all fun. Then regarding envy, Arjuna being warned by Krishna that you should be envyless, and this was again a very critical chapter. All of us at some point of time will come across this, and we should not give energy to this negative force, is what the entire discussion is all about. Self-confidence, equanimity, and at the end of each day, a self-audit to save yourself, not to condemn or complain or criticize, but to evaluate oneself, was again a nice discussion. How to use even abuses and negative criticisms to your advantage was beautifully brought out through this donkey's example. Donkey falling into a well, and its braying could not be tolerated by people. They wanted to bury it through the dust and dirt. But all using that, it created a mound and came out of it. Shrugging it away was a beautiful example, sir. That one strong message was how many times Swami will forgive as long as you repent from the bottom of your heart, is again a very strong message, a great recall. Sumati Suktam, lot of people have said, and a beautiful sharing, sir. Yes, once friendship soars, everything goes wrong. When there is a friendship, even a wrong looks good. It was again Swami's illustration in the chapter, but it was beautifully discussed. And sir ended with a few things like end of education is character. Life without character is like a shrine without God or a kite without strings. We are all students of life. We are Vidyarthis, not only of the Vahini, of the entire life and its living. I liked all the try session examples of the lady judge and the student, and who happens to be a real student of Swami. Only when his requirements are met and his examination is passed would you be a Sai student in reality. Sai beautifully explained as spiritual associated relationship and individual transformation was fantastic, sir. Thank you for the fantastic sharing. Looking forward to more and more from you. Again, as I close with gratitude, my sincere thanks to Swami. But for his grace and will, I don't think we all would have been part of this joyous session. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sairam, thank you very much, sir. Great summary, sir, as always. Thank you very much for providing the summary. Sairam, brothers and sisters, please stay back for another 3 minutes. I have a few announcements also. Going to share a couple of things here. Sairam Sai Chandrasekhar, sir, thank you very much for asking these 3 questions. It is a kind of warning, or I can say alerting by Swami to me itself. I have a little Sai incidents related to this, sharing of and maintaining the compassion between all those, and also NV part. Just want to share my experience. Today morning at before 8:30, there is a group called, we have a group called Sai Vanarasena. Couple of, most of our friends are USA Sai Sevadal. So we have a kind of, like there was a discussion going on. I was not much put any attention, but regarding to the BBC. So at last I saw the topic and then I just replied to that talk like this below. Just I'm reading on my WhatsApp. Sairam, Swami says love all, but even after going through Vahinis and universal approach for every religion and loving all forms as Swami's blessed incarnations, still I am not able to love. The topic is BBC, some documentary, I am not aware about that. So still not able to love BBC. When I was doing my preliminary steps towards Swami, I saw the documentary published by BBC on Swami, which has millions hits. That hunted me many months. If you see that documentary now, they have not yet understood not even minus 10% of Swamis. So I could not able to love that particular part because it is hitting my love towards Swami. This is which is, again I told for the Satvik always the world is challenging because he is at age, so try to pull him in all, he need to be balanced. So this was the answer. So for that answer, Swami today questioned through Sai Chandrasekhar sir. Thank you, Swami. Sorry, Swami. We continue to love everyone, love all. We will correct our mindset, Saira. Thank you, Sai Chandrasekhar sir. This is one of the incident happened today morning, and this is a reminder from Swami in this call. Saira, thank you. Saira, brothers and sisters. Couple of announcements, like we are, first one is we are going to start our Gita Vahini in the next Vahini on 18th February. So my humble request to all the participants to go through the Bhagavad Gita chapters, as well as we will be sharing the Swami's discourse has given on Bhagavad Gita. That audio files we will be sharing. Please go through the audio files also, along with the Gita Vahini chapters reading. Sairam, that is the first one. And as long as once the Vidya Vahini is completed, during the conclusion session, we will be providing a Google form for giving the feedback on the Vahini Swadhyaya, as we will be completing the 10 Vahinis out of 15 after the Vidya Vahini conclusion. This will be like a 10th Vahini. So the next 5 Vahinis are very going through like a Gita Vahini, Jnana Vahini, Sutra Vahini, Leela Kaivalya Vahini. So we have the list of Vahinis which has which will go ahead very in depth to the spiritual part. So please provide your feedback so that we can have the content also. We will discuss with the speakers and then have the content is reachable to the participants. Sairam. These are all the 2 things, Sairam. Thank you very much for joining Vahini Swadhyaya session. Thank you, Swami, for blessing us with all these enormous Para-Vidya in a scripture, in a script. Thank you, Swami. We will be concluding the session with 3 Samastaloka Sikhna Bhavan. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Bolo Bhagavan Sri 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 Satya Sai Baba Ji Ki Jai. Sairam. Thank you.
Mahindra, Amarnath sir.
Sairam everybody. Sairam.
Sairam, Sairam. అందరికీ నమస్కారాలు. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.